The funeral home gave me Margaret's shoes in a clear plastic bag. That is the part I still can't get past. Not her wedding ring, not the little Bible she kept in her purse, not the sweater she wore the last week in the hospital, her shoes. Black, low-heeled with a small scrape on the left toe. I stood in that hallway holding them like they were evidence of something. And maybe they were. I had promised to fix that scrape years before. I remember it clearly. We were in a church parking lot after rain, and she lifted her foot just a little and said, "These look awful." I said, "I'll take care of it." She smiled. Not because of the shoes, I don't think. Because she still believed I meant what I said. The man from the funeral home told me, "Take your time, Mr. Ellis." I nodded. But time was the thing I had wasted most. There was something I had meant to say to Margaret for 40 years. 2 words, simple words. I'm sorry. I had said them in small, useless ways. Sorry I'm late. Sorry I forgot. Sorry I'll do it tomorrow. But not the real apology. Not the one that had a name and a date and a little girl in a blue dress. And I thought that was the worst of it. I didn't understand that Margaret had already started leaving me piece by piece, long before she ever got sick. Our daughter Emily was 9 when it happened. Margaret bought her a blue dress for a school concert, little white buttons down the front, a ribbon around the waist. Emily hated dresses, but she wore that one because Margaret told her she looked beautiful. I was supposed to be there. Margaret wrote the time on a yellow note and stuck it above the steering wheel in my truck. Thursday, 6:30. I saw it every morning that week. I still missed it. My brother called that afternoon. He needed help moving an old freezer out of his basement. I said yes without thinking. That was how I was back then. If someone needed a truck, tools, or 2 strong arms, I showed up. If someone needed me to sit still and pay attention, I treated it like it could wait. Margaret called me around 5. "You're still coming, right?" I had grease on my fingers. I remember wiping my hand on my jeans before picking up the phone. "I'll try," I said. There was a small pause. "She keeps looking for you," Margaret said. I looked at the freezer strapped in the back of my truck. I said, "I'll try." I didn't yell. That fooled me for years. I thought because I was calm, I had not been cruel. When I got home that night, the hallway light was on. Margaret was sitting on the bottom step with Emily's blue dress folded across her lap. She still had her coat on. I noticed the coat first, then the dress, not her face. She said. She waited until the last song. I started explaining. The freezer was heavier than we thought. My brother's stairs were narrow. Traffic near the bridge was backed up. Margaret didn't interrupt me. She just held out the dress. I took it. Then she walked upstairs. No crying, no fight. That was another thing that fooled me. I thought silence meant the damage was small. The next morning, Emily wouldn't look at me. I found the concert program later in the trash. Her name was printed under Spring Voices. I took it out, folded it, and put it in my jacket pocket. I meant to apologize that night. I really did. But the garage door latch broke. Then the phone rang. Then Emily went to bed. Then Margaret said she was tired. And one day became 2. Then a week. Then something you don't say starts becoming harder to say. That is the part I did not know then. After that, Margaret changed in quiet ways. At first, she reminded me more. Don't forget Emily's appointment. Don't forget my mother's birthday. Don't forget we said we'd go. I would say, I know. Sometimes I knew. Sometimes I only said it so she would stop asking. Then she started writing things down. Notes on my toolbox. Notes taped to the hallway mirror. One inside my lunch pail. Emily. Friday. 7 o'clock. I laughed when I found that one. I told a man at work, "My wife thinks I need instructions." He laughed too. I wish he hadn't. Those notes were not instructions. They were her last way of hoping. Then the notes got shorter. Milk. Dentist. Emily. 7. No please. No little hearts. No don't be late. Just facts. Like she had stopped asking me to care and had started leaving information for a man who might or might not show up. One afternoon, I came home and found Margaret in the bedroom closet, putting old things into a cardboard box. Photo albums, school papers, a pink ribbon Emily used to wear, and the blue dress. I stood in the doorway and said, "You kept that?" She didn't turn around. Of course, I almost said it then. I felt the apology rise up. "I'm sorry, but I had paint on my hands, and there was a hardware store receipt in my shirt pocket, and I told myself I would say it later when it felt less awkward." That moment never came back. They never do. Years passed. Emily grew up. Margaret grew quieter, not cold. Cold would have warned me. She was still kind. She still told me when my shirts were ready at the cleaner. She still sat beside me in the car on Sundays. She still handed me envelopes and said, "This needs to be mailed." But she stopped asking if I wanted to come with her. At first, I thought she was being considerate. Then one Saturday morning, I saw a small suitcase by the front door. "Where are you going?" I asked. "To Emily's." "When?" She buttoned her coat slowly. "This morning. You didn't tell me." She looked at me then, not angry, not hurt, just tired. I did. I almost argued. Then I remembered the note on the dresser. "Emily, Saturday, leave early." I had moved it under a flashlight so I could fix the closet shelf. I never read it. Margaret picked up the suitcase. "You don't have to come," she said. There was no punishment in her voice. That was worse. She had stopped expecting me. For years I remembered that scene wrong. I told myself she had started living me out. She hadn't. She had just stopped dragging me in. The last time Margaret went into the hospital, she looked smaller than she had ever looked. Hospitals do that. They make a person look like they are already halfway somewhere else. I sat beside her bed with my hands folded between my knees. The room smelled like sanitizer and warm plastic. A machine beside her made a small clicking sound. I had rehearsed the apology in the parking garage, all the way from level 3 to the elevator. I was going to say, "Margaret, I should have been there that night." Then I was going to say Emily's name. Then I was going to say hers. Because for 40 years, I thought I had only hurt my daughter. I was wrong. Margaret opened her eyes. I leaned forward. "You need anything?" That is what came out. Not the apology, not the truth, just another small, useless question. She looked at me for a long second. "No," she said. After a while, she whispered. Emily called. "I'll call her back." Her eyes stayed closed. "You always say that." I smiled a little because I thought she might be teasing me. She wasn't. Those were the last clear words she ever said to me. After the funeral, Emily helped me clean the bedroom closet. She found the cardboard box. The blue dress was still inside, wrapped in tissue paper. The old concert program was there too. I didn't know Margaret had kept it. Emily held the dress for a long time. Then she said, "Mom waited for you too." I looked at her. "What?" "At the concert," she said. Every time the doors opened, she turned around. That changed the whole memory. I had spent 40 years picturing one little girl in a blue dress waiting for her father. But there had been 2 people waiting. One was 9. The other was my wife. And I missed both of them. I finally said, "I'm sorry." Emily nodded. She didn't hug me. She didn't say it was okay. I was grateful she didn't lie. Now I am 88 years old, and I still find Margaret in small things. A label in her handwriting, a receipt folded inside an old purse, a church bulletin tucked behind a mirror, and those black shoes in the closet still scraped on the left toe. I know now that silence is not always peace. Sometimes silence is someone giving up softly so they can keep living beside you. Margaret did not leave me in one day. She left in notes I didn't read, in calls I didn't return, in plans she stopped asking me about, in apologies I kept saving for later, and later, as it turns out, is not a place you can always reach. I still keep her shoes side by side. I don't know why. Maybe because part of me is still waiting to hear her walk back in, or maybe because I finally understand that she waited long enough.